how's it going? My name is Monica and welcome to my channel where I love to post step-by-step sewing tutorials as well as other sewing and fashion related videos. In today's video, I'm actually doing my very first thrifted upcycle video, which is transforming this old thrifted sweater into something that has a little bit more life into it by adding this fun detail to the neckline. I really like the way this turned out. It's super easy to do, so anybody is going to be able to do this project, and it's just a great way to add some new life to your old sweaters. So what are we waiting for? Let's go ahead and get out of this cold, snowy, beautiful weather, and let's go ahead and get sewing. To do this easy refashion, you'll need a sweater or even a dress or top you want to add some life back into. I got mine from the Goodwill, and even though it was a nice sweater, I wanted it to have a little more excitement to it, so that's why I'm refashioning it. You're also going to need some buttons or other sew-on embellishments to decorate with. I got mine from the Goodwill too because I found this top there that had all these beautiful shimmery embellishments on it, but some of them were missing and the top itself was ripped, so I figured the embellishments would be perfect to use for this project. It was nice that everything I needed was thrifted, but you can get buttons and embellishments from the fabric store too. I started the project by taking the embellishments off of the shirt, and here's a close-up of one of them. They're small shimmery pieces that have 2 buttonholes on them, and they catch the light so beautifully. They were just attached by thread, so it was super easy to cut them off with scissors, and when I was done, I had a ton of them. Plenty for this project, and I put a bunch up for future projects too. And I put the shirt in my fabric stash as well, just in case I found a use for its fabric. Now comes the fun part because it's time to start playing around with designs on the sweater, so start laying out the embellishments and experiment with where you want them. At first, I thought I'd want them all over the sweater, so I put them in a single row around the neck. Then I added some along these diagonal details that went along the sides because I thought I'd like to highlight that detail too. And finally, I played around with a pattern on the sleeves. When I was done though, I actually didn't like the design at all because it seemed too all over the place, and I thought it might be better to have a focal point in just one area, like just a design on the neckline or only on the sleeves. So I decided to clear them off and focus only on the neck this time. I made a new design by placing one layer around the front of the neck and then adding more in rows going out from the center so that they were spaced a little further apart as they went. I liked this design a lot more than the first one because I felt like just focusing on the neckline was a lot more stylish, but I still had one more pattern I wanted to try, so I took a picture of this one just in case I wanted to go back to it. Then I rearranged the pieces one more time so that they were more in lines coming out from the center, and I really liked this effect too because I thought it kind of looked like they were bursting out from the neckline. I took a picture of this design too, and then I compared the 2 pictures to see which one caught my eye the most, and I decided on this final design. When you do decide on your final design, make sure you have a picture of it too so that you can refer to it while you're sewing. Now to sew the pieces on, grab a needle and thread that matches your embellishments and knot the thread at the end. I recommend starting at the center of your design and working your way outward as you sew so that you can make sure both sides are centered as you go. Feed the needle up from the inside of the sweater and sew that center embellishment on, and I like to sew up and down several times to make sure it stays secure and then knot it a few times on the back so it doesn't come loose. When you're done, trim the thread, and don't worry if your design gets messed up at all because you can refer back to the picture as you work. And I actually moved my pieces out of the way completely because it is easier to sew that way. Lay out and sew the next piece of your design on exactly the same way, then go to the opposite side to do the same thing, and I highly suggest measuring to make sure both pieces are evenly spaced before you sew that next piece on. I then repeated that process of laying them out, measuring to make sure they were even, and sewing them on one by one until the first layer of the design was complete. I referred back to the picture again and began adding the next layers of the design, again starting from the center and working my way out to make sure everything was nice and symmetric. I had a movie on while I was working, which helped the hand sewing go by quickly, and before I knew it, the whole design was done. At this point, I tried the sweater on to make sure I was happy with it, and I did really like it, although I did take these top two pieces off before I wore it because they sat kind of weirdly at the shoulders. I've really loved wearing this these last few weeks of winter, and I definitely plan to revive more of my sweaters like this next fall. I hope you enjoyed this refashion video, and let me know if you'd like to see more in the future. Plus, I'd love to hear what your favorite refashion project you've ever done has been. Thanks for watching, y'all.